everyone. It's Saturday, August 1st. It's not July anymore. We are trialing tech issues. We've got a guest that was supposed to join us that hopefully is okay. We were unable to hear from. So it's just Sam and I this morning uh, on a drink up Saturday episode. So as always, shout outs to God, I have not had enough coffee. Shout outs to Sam and Alicia with Bev Assets for being a sponsor, and Ryan Halliman and On the Rocks Advisors. I know Ryan is at least working because he's been emailing me this morning. Jay Williams and Freebird, and then myself and Alias Advising. Uh, Sam, how we doing on? I've got error messages popping up here on some stuff and not on others. How we doing on connections?
See, I don't think we're streaming. It's funny. It says, I don't know. We might be streaming now. You're saying you're getting
So
error message.
my page says LinkedIn requires a scheduled event.
Interesting. Yeah, it says we're live. And let me look at mine. This is what we're testing this morning, which is good.
It says end the stream to make changes. What in the fuck?
So we
Oh,
are live right now.
yeah, we are live on LinkedIn. What the fuck? Is this? Yeah,
I don't
no,
know.
this is.
I'm doing so. Here's the deal. I'm setting up like a LinkedIn external event, and then I
Yeah.
set up a LinkedIn live event. I actually think it's going live
Whoa.
right now on the LinkedIn live event. So, who knows? If those that are trying to stream live on LinkedIn, good luck. I have no idea. Riverside, that's the medium we use to stream, and LinkedIn changed their rules too. So you can no longer just like go live on LinkedIn. You have to have a schedule an event. So you just can't.
Hmm.
So
Well, hang on. Let me. I'm gonna text Halliman because, like I said, I know he's working. I'll be like, hey, see if you can see us on LinkedIn and comment or something, so we know it's working.
yeah, that would be
Let's
good.
see.
Meanwhile, I found a water, Jay Williams.
There we go.
You
Perfect.
guys are bigger than life now. It seems like you're just taking over the universe with your brand. So, Jay, if you catch this, let me know. I try to like your stuff on LinkedIn, but it's awfully frustrating. It seems like we're getting drowned out by top influencers and stuff, and people that really good at making videos. So I'm not sure what the secret sauce is out there on LinkedIn land. We're here now, but anyway, thanks, Jay. I also want to call out the Beverage Broker Network really
Oh,
quick.
yes.
Would be really good. If you go to, I don't know if you want to type it up on the screen, Adam, that'd be good,
Hmm.
but if you go to www.beveragebrokernetwork.com, it's actually developed for anybody in the CPG drinks industry, your supplier, customer, service provider, broker, salesperson. It's really a great medium. We're growing pretty rapidly over there. It has a community feed. You can display your services out. I'm gonna put your services out there. I don't know if I got it right. I can clean it up. Rox is out there as well. So I implore you, go check it out. www.beveragebrokernetwork.com. We created it for the community here. We're not trying to go up against LinkedIn. We have very good respect for folks on LinkedIn and what it is. But if you really want to get in and find a co-packer, you want to find a broker in a market, you want to get your brand inside with a customer, you need a co-packer, whatever it may be, the answer's there. But the community is only as good as the people that actually participate in the community. We have watchers and trade mates, and the difference between that and LinkedIn, maybe LinkedIn takes this advice, you don't become a trade mate until you actually had a conversation. You can watch people, and that you can like people's stuff. And we're learning, but again, it's totally free. It's for everybody in the community. So I don't know, Adam, if you've experienced it or um, tested it out.
I've played around with it a little bit, and Ryan texted me back. He did say that we are live, so somehow, some way, we are live on LinkedIn.
Is he on a
Hooray!
golf course or at a baseball event? Where's he at?
Um, I'm guessing based on the way he's texting me, he's at home, but that's a good question. Because he's always either somewhere with his kids or golfing. Uh, Beverage Broker Network. That's where I was going with this. Yeah, it's cool. I'm not gonna lie. Between between LinkedIn, Reddit, TikTok, Alignable, Beverage Broker Network. I think that's it. 5. I'm trying to like learn all of them to the same degree that I know, which is not extensive. Like I barely know LinkedIn, and I'm trying to learn all the others. Like,
Well, and I'm seeing the floating talking head.
but
I think it was on TikTok that I was seeing a
the
TikTok video.
TikTok.
You're getting like 20 to 30 likes, and you're getting a lot of impressions. So maybe I'll try the floating head. But I mean, I feel like I'm invisible out there when I'm talking. But you bring incredible value. I love it when you were looking at the you were some like store Hy-Vee or something, and you were looking at
Oh,
the
high
set.
V. Everything was faced. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And then there was one that you were talking about formulation, and above you were talking about what's in a can. So I'm proving I actually watch your videos, but you were talking about like if you ate the stuff like individually, it would taste like crap, right? I think you used a different word,
Good.
but anyway, it would taste like crap. But if all together in the can, it tastes pretty good. But all that you were explaining what's in that can, which I thought was really interesting. People don't really think about that when they come out with a product, right? There's a lot of other stuff in it other than I guess Jay's is probably just water. But anyway,
Indeed.
makes
No,
really like
dude, it's I mean, we'll see, right? Like I mean, it's the TikTok version of the lab learning shit that I did 6 years ago, where, this conversation started, right? Like,
yeah,
the people that, I mean, I'm sure you've heard it, right? You've heard a version of it where people are like, yeah, I want to make a 5% ABV cocktail, but I want it to have 50 calories. I'm like, well,
right,
physics dictates that every percent ABV has about 20 calories. So there's not a fucking world in which a 5% cocktail has 50 calories. Period. Full stop. End of story. It's just not happening, right?
yeah. So I mean,
Well,
so you get a lot of people reaching out for you when you post that and share that, or what?
not reaching out. I mean, I have 8 followers. I'm almost into double digits, so I'm almost an influencer. Uh, but I'm getting a lot of like, or not, I mean, a lot for me, right? Like I'm getting more eyes on it than I thought. I have some friends, like people, neighbors I used to live by and stuff, who like will watch it or post it or whatever. But like, Lauren Bertrand, who I think we've had on the show before, used to be the taproom manager for a hot minute at the lab. I think she's still with Wink. Um, she'll interact with it. You'll interact with it. Who else? There's been a few people. So I think it's one of those things where like there's a much broader, even locally, right? There's a much broader CPG presence than anybody ever gives themselves like credit for.
Yeah,
There's taproom managers and bar staff and guys working the tanks at breweries or whatever, but very few people are actually posting about like the manufacturing side of shit as opposed to the brand side of stuff. Which, don't get me wrong, the brand side matters too. But I was like, well, fuck it, like I'll just do the lab learnings from a few years ago, TikTok style, and we'll see if they resonate. And I don't know. I think it's going
I
okay
think you
so
have
far.
something. I mean, our friend Michael Corangelo or whatever, the
Mhm.
flavor
Yeah,
guy.
yeah,
I mean, it's funny when he was first kind of starting out to go by himself. He's kind of bigger in life now, man. He gets when he posts something, he gets like 400, 500 people comment. He just talks about flavors, right? So if you find your niche, right,
dude.
and you talk about what you know, I think people appreciate that, right? So I think leaning into that, Adam, is a good thing because you have that's important information that people need to learn. Like, what I'm leaning into is really I'm a commercial guy. When people talk to me, I'm like, look, I know one thing really well is I know how a distributor works, I know how a customer works, and if I can tell you about those two things to get your brand to market, that's what we do. But we're
Yeah,
smart enough to know what we don't know. If you want to know about how the can is made and what goes in the can, and how to get the cans, talk to Adam. You know, at the
yeah.
end of the day, we don't do that. It's obviously within our network, with Rocks and Bev Assets and our community. But man, yeah, I think your talking head is brilliant. You kind of float around the screen too. I think the floating
Mhm.
talking head, by the way, is absolutely great. I was like, "There's my buddy Adam." I'm like, "Marvelous, brilliant." I love it. Makes my
Well, so I have to say two things you know, to Ryan and hopefully hopefully other people are with us this morning. If there's anybody out there in podcast land who has like a niece, a daughter, a sister, a brother, a nephew. I don't get some young person. I'm gonna say between the age of like 19 and 26
Yeah.
ish, who knows TikTok really well, or
Yeah.
Reddit, or any of that shit. Please have them call me. I will pay them. I want an education on how this shit works because I am fucking figuring out as I go, and it is painful as hell to
Uh,
just throwing it out there. If you know anybody in your life, I don't give a fuck who it is, as long as they are experienced. Fuck, they can make the videos for me if they want. But like, I don't want to do it so much. I just want to have them go up and be done well. So
so
that's
I'll
my
give you
announcement to the world.
I'll give you an inside track on one thing that works. It's the only thing that's worked for me. You know what that is?
Hmm.
Dog videos.
I was gonna say you said that, and I was like, "Fuck, it's the dog. It's Pumpkin." Yeah.
It's dog videos. I literally, like, I'm growing my following on YouTube through just posting
Oh
dog
shit.
videos. I try to then I'll try to weave in something about the beverage business. They're like, no, 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 we're not having that. We just want Pumpkin. We don't want anything about the beverage industry. Just Pumpkin walking or Pumpkin stealing shit or Pumpkin getting into shit. I just want Pumpkin. So, like, if
Oh,
you're,
that's
it's all
awesome.
about like growing your audience, but. But I found my thing on YouTube. It's about Pumpkin and eating shit that he's not supposed to. He had milk duds last night, by the way. Like my wife and I got in an
Dude,
argument.
your dog gets fucking chocolate.
What's
Like,
that?
I said your dog gets into more chocolate than any dog I've ever heard.
Oh my gosh, man, he's still limping around too from his, the plum incident a few weeks ago. He's getting better, but man, he still has he's still limping. And last night, we had popcorn. We like to put sweet tarts and milk duds in our popcorn. Whatever. It's
Ah,
what we do.
as you
And,
do, of course. Yeah.
yeah, but anyway, he proceeded to get the whole box of milk duds last night. So maybe I'll post about that on YouTube, and maybe I'll try to weave in something about, hey, and we're Bev Assets.
Dude, I'm
come
telling you,
come
man, like
talk to us.
I mean, for as much as I'm not an expert, like I truly think, and I appreciate the compliment, obviously, but like people want to nerd out with you on shit, right? Like they do. I mean, I'll never forget years ago, uh, one of the friends that likes my stuff on TikTok that used to be a neighbor, she moved to South Minneapolis. We were talking, and I forget what brought it up, but it was something like we were talking about carbonation in beverage, and I was like, "Yeah, you have to have a gas of some kind to keep the can rigid." And she goes, and like her name's Max. She's works in a completely different field, but highly intelligent person. And she goes, "Is that true?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Really?" I said, "Think about it, right? Like even a bottled soda, like you twist off that cap, the bottle gets soft. That's because of the pressure, right?"
Yeah.
And she goes, "Okay." And weeks later, I get a phone call. Bree and I are out. It's a Saturday. We're on a patio drinking, hanging out. I get a phone call from Max, and she goes, "Hey, did you tell me that either CO2 or nitrogen have to be in the can to keep it rigid?" And I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Okay, thanks, bye." Click. Okay. Weeks after that, we're at a bonfire in their backyard, and she goes, "There's another guy, several friends there," and she's like, "John, tell Adam what you told me." And he's like, "What?" She goes, "This is the beverage guy, Adam. Tell him what you told me." And John's like, "Yeah, man, that thing you said about pressure is bullshit." And I was like, and he goes, "Yeah." I was like, "What do you do for a living?" He was like, "Software or whatever." I'm like, "Okay, well, you're fucking
I
wrong."
just
But
popped this can open, by the way, and it went.
so like, it's right, wrong, or indifferent. The point I'm getting is like people like to get into the weeds on shit. They just
Yeah.
want it to be done in little bites, so they're not drinking from a fire hose. Which I think is why,
Yeah.
again, like stuff like this, it's an hour, it's a few minutes. It's not a fucking college course that you've got to test at the end. It's easily digestible, right?
Yeah,
Like,
well, I think the talking head, when you give them snippets, like you give them a little bit, and then maybe you do like maybe hit the back of the can to talk about the ingredients, and then you hit what's on the can to what's on
mm-hmm.
top of the can to what goes in the can, and then people probably
Yeah.
like nerd out that. Like I've learned so much from you over the last few years that it's just it's amazing, and it is what it is. So.
Well, thank you.
That makes sense.
Uh, I want to pick your brain on something since we're sans guest this morning. So I had a call yesterday with our friend Chelsea Andreozzi, the of First Call Imports, right? And her and I got to talking about something Ryan and I have seen come up a ton recently, which is international brands wanting to come over to the US. But the problem we're experiencing is that apparently, and I'm learning this through these conversations, overseas, whether it's parts of Europe or you know, the India, China, kind of the further east parts of the world from here, obviously, um, co-packers are a lot more turnkey, right? So if you're a brand owner overseas, you just stroke a single check, generally speaking, and the facility does it all. They make the formula and they own the IP. They run the production. They do the artwork. They buy the packaging. Like they handle all of it. So when
Wow.
these brands come over to the US, they're like, "Hey, I want to produce in the US," and I say, "We'll get an NDA signed. Share with me your formula." And they're like, "I don't have my formula. Why would I need it?" I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean? Why would you need it?" Of course you need it, but there's that gap in the service offering, and so I'm curious for you, like from a sales perspective, do you have a sense of what like having a brand and the distributor relationships and stuff like in other countries as opposed to the US?
Yeah, we don't. So Alicia plays in that. I don't know if she wants to chime in if she's listening, but we have relationships that people that export to those countries who have those relationships. So for me to tell you how that works, I wouldn't be
Sure.
the person to tell you. One of the easiest paths we do to export is really probably global duty free, which we have people that do that. We kind of start
Okay.
there.
Sure.
But it's something that I'm not really familiar with. We deal with clients that are coming in the U.S.,
Hmm.
but Alicia, if a client wants to go outside the U.S., Alicia Vargo will, connect that client with someone. But we will deal with clients coming in the U.S., kind of like you, right? Like we had a
Hmm.
client out of Australia, and he's bringing two products into the U.S. And we worked with
Hmm.
Chelsea. She was awesome, by the way, because we wanted to figure out all the different
Hmm.
on his purposes charges that you're going to get hit with, right? We want to
Hmm.
really understand
Hmm.
everything from like ocean freight, tariffs, to what it's going to cost to be at customs, all that stuff that you wouldn't consider because that becomes part of your cost of goods. So I guess
Yep.
the answer to your question is I'm not an expert at exporting. Do we do import export global duty free? We do, but we have experts that we connect you with to go do that.
Cool. No, I mean, if anybody is, listening, or Alicia, if you want to come on today sometime soon, like I personally, I mean, we can also have a call outside of the podcast, but like just to help frame it for brand owners, because that's what Chelsea and I ended up getting into was I think with myself, I looped Ryan into the thread. Fuck, for that matter, we could loop you and Alicia in, but her and I were kind of riffing on this whole idea, and she was like, "Well, why don't we come up with just like a cross promotional, like a dual branded one sheeter with FAQs and insights for brands that want to go from elsewhere to here?" Because the we're both discussing was like, yeah, you could import it, but you're gonna have import costs and tariffs and shit like that, or you could make it here, but you're gonna have probably reformulation costs and additional sourcing and so on and so forth. And so there's a formula to be done on both sides. Do an A to B comparison, both in understanding which side of the math is more attractive, but also just answering the questions and understanding, like from a brand experience standpoint, which is more preferable, right?
Yeah, we looked
And
at like
so
with the brand, but what I was talking about out of Australia, we looked at bringing totes in to actually have the
yeah,
bottle labeled here, but he still wanted the liquid actually made in Australia because a product of Australia. So
yep,
he wanted to
yep,
stick with the brand. I'm like, well, like just call it like products from Australia,
yep,
versus
yep.
or Australia inspired, like to
That's
save yourself
exactly.
some money,
Yep.
the whole bit. But anyway, um, eh, but we talked to Chelsea about that actually. So she was doing the different costs of a tote versus bringing in finished goods, which there's a difference, right?
Uh huh.
Um,
Uh huh.
but this stuff that I'm learning, you don't think about these things um, at the end of the day. So let me ask you a question. I kind of like we're kind of like you're my guest today, and I'm your guest, right?
Deal.
Um, you know, it really, I mean, all kidding aside, the talking head did really spark me, and it's really good. But like when you're talking to people, what is it that you're trying to like what like right now, like what are you trying to convey to people right now, and why do they need to talk to you, Adam, like right now? Everything that's going on in the industry, like what is the how are you going to make a difference in their life?
It's a wonderful question, and I'm gonna answer it with perspective that I've been having with just discussions even with Bree or with Ryan, right? Like, if you've talked to me for longer than 5 minutes, if you've ever listened to any episode of this show, like, I am not the used car, no offense to those people, but the used car salesman that's gonna force you into buying today, right? It's not my vibe. It's not Sam's vibe. It's not really I work with's vibe. Um, so what I do try to do though is just set an expectation, right? And I think that's where everybody I talk to, because I talk to a lot of early stage founders who've never done it, right? That's the piece that they're missing. And whether we talk once for 30 minutes or you end up partnering with me for years, the start. And that's what I think is the need is I'm not telling anybody that they can't do this, that they can't afford it, that they don't have the expertise or the experience or the intelligence or anything. I'm not saying any of those things. What I am saying is it's gonna fucking suck for a while, right? It's gonna be difficult. There's gonna be shit you don't know. There's gonna be bills you don't expect. There's going to be problems come up down the road that, regardless of how much money you spent or time you spent, stuff's gonna go wrong.
Right.
And I ask my wife all the time, I'm like, Ryan and I talk about this, Bree and I talk about this. I'm like, does that come off offensive to people? Because that's not my intent, right? And the response I got back from my wife, who's as blunt as I am, was like, yeah, sometimes, right? Like sometimes that comes off as a slap in the face, right? Which is fine, and obviously it's good feedback, so I asked the question because I will adjust my messaging accordingly to try and maybe soften it a little bit. Um, but that's it, right? It's like I don't want anybody to get into this space thinking that there's an easy button to be hit anywhere, right? Don't get me wrong, there are things that will make it easier, right? Working with me, understanding where some of the operational hurdles are, working with you, working with Ryan, Alicia. I mean, we've got a whole network of partners, right? Like there are things, people you can partner with that will lessen some of those stressors, but they'll never take them away completely, right? Um, and so that's truly it, man. Like I had, yesterday afternoon, I had 4 different phone calls with people, LinkedIn, Reddit, random introductions, and they were just like, well, what do you think about this? One guy, perfect example. One guy said he had done, I'll leave the brand name out of it, but he said he had done his original formulations with Power Brands, right? And he goes, yeah, they quoted me this price for my new SKU, and that just feels like too much to me. And I said, it's actually low. He goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, going rate right now for new formulation, if you go out into the wide world of third-party formulators, is like 8 to 12 grand per SKU, and they were just under that.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, isn't it just, my first price in it, and you just take that out and then add in the other thing? And I'm like, absolutely fucking not. And he goes, so we had a nice conversation. We had a very direct conversation. And at the end of it, he goes, so what do you recommend? I said, write the check. Just write the check. If you like the work they did, write the check. If you want me to go help find you a new formulator because you don't like the work they did, awesome. But you're going to pay
Those
that
are the
person
folks.
10.
They're in Los Angeles or California. They're a California-based company.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a brand.
Been around for years. I mean, Power Brands, BevSource, Imbibe, Flavorman, Drink Labs. I mean, these are all groups that have been around for a long time, and their pricing is going to vary and their deliverables will vary. But like, that's the type of shit that I truly get passionate about because that's the most immediate way I can help right now. Is like, dude, get out of your own way.
That is incredible value, right? You're like, look, I can give you 5 different quotes and stuff, but everything I'm seeing in the marketplace, that's a good deal, and that's really powerful, for you to provide that to that person at that time, and they'll definitely come back to you at some point and say, well, you need to like work with me on this initiative, right? Because you're going to keep me out of harm's way. I mean, that's what we try to do. We certainly don't have a crystal ball, unfortunately.
Hmm.
Not everything lines up the way it's supposed to, but we know enough people and we have enough resources that we can connect those brands to those resources.
Hmm.
Let me share a little story with you that's kind of unrelated to kind of pivot a little bit. I realize that brands have to work with you and formulators and marketers and PR firms and to buy the cans, the labels, the liquid, everything else. What's driving me nuts right now is by the time they arrive to the sales folks, they want us to work on commission.
Yeah.
And I don't understand the logic behind it. I understand the logic behind performance and meeting expectations. I'm not saying that. But we were talking to a potential client the other day, really super good guy. And we go through the whole thing about what we do, how we can help him. And we give him we're a retained agency. And he goes, I was in the financial business, and I've worked on straight commission and been very successful. And I don't understand why you guys won't work on commission.
Hmm.
And I looked at him and I said, because they have to put food on their table. Your brand is unproven. You're selling financial products that are proven, and they actually appointed you because I actually can sell financial products as I'm a fully licensed financial and insurance person, believe it or not. And so you get appointed by Blue Cross Blue Shield or by Fidelity, and as a fiduciary to represent their products.
Yeah.
So you're bringing me a product that's never been proven, and you're asking me to work on commission. That was my answer back to him, by the way.
Yeah. It's funny. Brian and I got asked on a call the other day, and I promise this will tie together here in a second, and it'll lead to a question for you. Ryan and I got asked on a call the other day. We had it was an hour-long call. It was a second call, kind of a scoping sort of call with a group that we were talking to. And at the very end of the call, one of the two gentlemen goes, well, hey guys, everything you've said makes sense, and we appreciate the insight. Thank you for the time, and blah, blah, blah. What do we need you for right now? And he went on to say, which is a fair question, right? Because I will tell people, like, I can't truly do work until there's a formula, right? Like, I have to have something to chew on, right?
Yeah.
And so they asked, well, what do we need you for right now? And I said, because you're going to have questions and want to plan things while the formula is being worked on. And that's not the formulator's job to help you with, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to be parallel passing that work, that's what you need me for. If you don't, I will get the fuck out of the way. It doesn't matter to me either way, right? But what kills me is, and I'd be curious to get your perspective on this, and this is why, ROX is there in the Beverage Broker Network, is that, like, we all experience this issue, but I'm curious about your day-to-day. The problem I have with both being a consultant and working with other consultants is not with myself or consultants, is with this idea from brand owners that everybody works in a silo, right? Sales is over here, ops is over here, marketing's back that way, finance is 2 blocks down, right? And if I just pay everybody and let them do their thing, it'll all somehow magically work together. No, the fuck it won't. We all need to be talking and planning and balancing and measuring and cutting, measuring twice and cutting once and doing all those things. So I'm curious for you, like, because you're working with folks that are a little more established, even outside of the commission conversation, do they want you as salespeople involved in the larger conversation, or is it just, hey, go sell it and don't bother me with questions?
So that's interesting. It depends on the client. So I got a
Okay.
client that they just basically wanted a warm body in a marketplace.
Yeah.
And I kept on going back to this particular client. I mean, look, let me help you find distribution. Let's look at your pricing strategy. Let's go back because what we're doing is not working. And I'm like, I can get you on a distributor in California. And he said, I just want your body, and your body needs to execute. That's what I'm paying you for. It's pretty much that. Him and his partner, I'll just say partner, that said that to us. Or, but we do have clients that will bring us on retainer. We have out of Beirut, Lebanon. You perhaps maybe know him, but we he's not even going to come into market until the end of 27. But we've laid out his entire commercial plan, his pricing strategy. We've looked at, his route to market and go to market plans. We've nailed all that, pretty much down, right? And he'll come and engage us for like 3 months, and then I'm like, look, you don't have to. We'll go off retainer until ready to, like 90 days out. We'll come back on or whatever. So we have clients like that too, and we have other clients like the one I told you about out of Australia. We did a lot of work for about 4 months. Chelsea got involved with them as well.
Yep.
And we're going to stay on on retainment. And we have a lot of those where we just stay on, where we're just like, if you have a question, we're available 24/7. Pick up the phone. So think of us as like attorneys that are on retainer. And like I'm getting ready to go talk to my supplier. Like I've wanted on Monday, he has a big meeting with a distributor. We're helping him find distribution. I said, I'm available all weekend to go through the pricing scenarios that you need to discuss and negotiate with that person. So I actually think of these clients you're dealing with, if they're smart, they shouldn't go away. They should say, look, I'll put you on retainer, and when I need you, I'll give you a call. I mean, my son just signed up with an attorney in LA, Roger B. Lee, just to let you know.
Oh, yeah.
They're on retainer. My son and his partner are on retainer with them because they got a very malicious or a cease and desist letter from Meta. You don't want to mess with that, right?
Ooh.
So, yes.
Nice.
They should frame it one day. But anyway, Roger got involved the whole bit. But Roger's on retainer, right?
Yeah.
And we paid the money.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question. I went off on a dissertation there.
No, I mean it's. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer or even pointed answer. It's just I don't know, waxing poetic about how we as consultants help frame that conversation, right? Because we all know, especially when you're a new brand, like money is tight, and it's not going to stop being tight anytime soon, right? So, I tell people, I mean, you've heard me say it, Ryan's heard me say it, like I tell people all the time, hey, look, if all you need is that, retainer model of like, hey, I want to be able to talk to you once a week, once a month. I want to be able to call you out of the blue and know that you're going to answer and be able to give me an hour of your time. Great. I don't need to charge you thousands of dollars a month for that, right?
Yeah.
We can make that a very approachable arrangement. But if we don't, and this is, I mean, conversations I think we've all had where it's like, if we don't, I'm still going to answer the phone, but it's going to take me a minute to catch up and give you realistic information because I got to figure out what the fuck you've been up to for the last 3 months.
Yeah, you know what I would do, suggestion, Adam, for you and Ryan and Rox or your business, if you wanted to do that, I would do the Roger formula. They gave us a set amount. It was like $7,000. But it comes out of the till, right? So every time there's an hourly charge. So it's like, look, for me to be on retainer with you, you can put this amount in the bucket, and then I'm gonna go use that bucket every time you talk to me. That way, it's really clear to people. I actually like that. When I just experienced this with Roger and his, Roger was the connection, right? But we're dealing with a trademark attorney, Adrian, and Adrian's person, but now we have someone that we know as we get the letters or a letter needs to be written, they do it. Same thing happens with you, right? Hey, I'm getting ready to go talk to our formulator. I'm going to go to and where do I go get my cans, or this is what they quote me. Is this good or bad? Okay, great. Here it is. And you just take it out of the till, right? And they pay it. That I think that's that way everybody knows. And then if they want to reload the card, they can. Right? At the end of the day, it's like think about it as like a gift card, right? And you can reload it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong by any stretch. The problem is, and this is very much just mine personally,
Yeah.
I fucking hate tracking hours. I hate it with a passion, right?
I wouldn't
Which is my problem to get over.
track calls. When you give me a call, for my time to do this, it's always an hour. I would just do that. Make it easy.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're not wrong. Like I said, I gotta figure out how I want to frame it because I just.
No,
I mean, like one more
people out there listening to us thinking I'm probably insane by recommending it, but I literally just experienced this with a relatively, well-known law firm, and giving, Roger some kudos. But you know what I like about that law firm though is it was a law firm that was developed for entrepreneurs, right? It was a law firm founded by entrepreneurs. So if you think about what their why is and why they do what they do, they make themselves accessible to like these people that are startups. That's why I shared it with you. The other thing is think of it like a general contractor.
Totally.
So like Alicia and I are general contractors. Well, we don't do the drywall, we don't do the electrical. So and take drywall out and say formulator. Take, you know, electrical out and do exporter, the whole bit. So think of
Yeah.
yourself as a general contractor. You have a lot of knowledge, you know, a lot of people that you can take these brands to. There's big value in that. Think about it. General contractor makes
Yeah.
15 to 20% on the job, right? What's the going rate for a general contractor nowadays?
No fucking clue. I haven't had house work done in a while.
But it's about 15 to 20% they're going to put on top of the total cost of
Sure.
the job,
Yeah.
right? And so, but you have that person that's running point for you to keep you out of harm's way. It's exactly what you said at the very beginning. These founders, I love them all. They're dealing with they're trying to deal with 15 different things. You could bring those 15 different things together and they don't have to worry about it. There's real value in that. Plus, you can basically get the best cost, and it's always not about cost, but the best quality could be that too. With it,
Yeah.
that's going to save
Yeah.
them thousands and thousands of dollars. It's like me trying to go. I'll give you an example. I'm going to shut up. Years ago,
No,
was
you're
living-
good.
and I decided to do my own sprinkler system
hmm
in Kentucky. My neighbor and I proceeded to go pull dig the things, pull the lines out. About 3 days in, it was 100 degrees. We failed miserably.
I
I
bet.
ended up on a general contractor and a person that does that, and he bailed me out.
Uh-huh.
It cost me about $5,000 before I even hit him. Because if you try to do it yourself, sometimes you need to hire the expert.
hmm I think the other piece, and I'm curious again, I don't know if I've ever asked you this question, is I find a lot of the I find a lot of the work I end up doing for brands is based largely, not entirely, is based largely around just following up on their behalf, right? So like Ryan and I had it happen this week with, again, group who shall remain nameless, but one of our clients where the our job as the consultants in the framework of this relationship is to plan the purchase orders, send the purchase order volumes to the brand owner then places the POs, and they lead the conversation from there. We're not involved anymore. It's their relationship. Okay. Well, we're nearing production, and I'm looking at, we stay in copy on the emails just so we have visibility. We're nearing production, and I'm noticing this one particular purchase order. I've not seen any further communication on it. I've not seen a sales order. I've not seen anything. So I reach out and said, hey, like, did this information come through and I just haven't seen it? Yeah, out. The vendor missed the email. The purchase order hadn't been entered in the system at all, right? And we're like 3 weeks from production, which is not, oh fuck, we're screwed, but it's getting close, right? So I'm curious for you guys from a sales perspective. I'm sure it varies client to client, but how much of your work is just follow up, not with the client, but with the distributor, with the retailer on behalf of the client, because the client themselves doesn't have time to do it.
A lot of that. I mean, we're constantly chasing down either like depletion reports, payments
Yep.
are big
Yep.
right now in distribution. I'm not going to lie. It seems like every distributor out there is struggling, and there's
Well,
some.
because RNDC shit the bed for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, that one's really interesting. I saw Brian's post, and look, I wish them well, and the suppliers that
Mhm.
been exposed to that, but that's not just to them. So yeah, we spend a lot of time chasing down those things. Reps, did they do what they said they were going to do? Did the samples arrive? Is there an opportunity to go work with this DTC? So think of us as coordinators. At the end of the day,
Mhm.
coordinating, communicating, and collaborating with a variety of folks on behalf of our clients for sure. And that's the the value. I mean, we're moving from one distributor to another. We got a client in California. We are moving from one distributor to another, where there was a lot of coordinating that goes on to make sure when are we going to do the GSM, what is the price, when is the product going to arrive, who's going to be dedicated to it, all that stuff we do. There's a lot of work behind that.
Yeah. No, and that's I love that answer because it gets into some of the weeds. It's the same reason I love talking to like Chris Sikanalfi and just everybody else you've introduced me to. I mean, Chelsea, like it's again going back to the conversations the royal we often have with brand owners. It's like, look, most people with a decent amount of business experience and a modicum of intelligence, it doesn't take a doctoral degree to figure out how to ask for a depletion report, right? But it might take 3 fucking hours over a month of calling, mailing, and doing those things. And if you're a brand owner, especially somebody with a family and kids and other shit going on, you don't have those 3 fucking hours. So somebody's got to do the follow-up, right? And that's part of, not entirely, but that's part of what you're paying for.
Yeah, I mean, so many brands, and we deal with this too. Brands think, well, I got a distributor, my job is done. We spend a lot of time, like, now you got to activate your brand. You got to do tastings, events, bar spend, wait staff training, put the shelf talker up, invest in point of sale. They're like, what?
Yeah.
Did the distributor do that? I'm like, no, you just paid their percentage. That's just the toll you have to pay to get over the bridge. Remember Sean Miller from G4? That's just the toll. Keep on spending, man, to build your brand,
Totally.
And they don't, no one understands it. I think most people I talk to that come in the beverage business that are new to it, if you ask them if I would have known what I was going to get into, I would have never done it.
Oh, God, who is it? So Janet Johansson, formerly of BevSource, I think she's still on the board. To this day, will still tell the story, and I forget, it's not Jim Sorensen from XYZ, it's another gentleman we used to work with who's since left the brand that he was with at the time, but he used to tell her they would see each other at conferences and shit, or he'd come visit BevSource, and his running joke was always, Janet, I'm going to write a book about how to be, build a beverage brand. And she'd be like, okay. And he goes, it's going to be 1 page long. And she's like, all right, what's going to be on that 1 page? And he's like, take it literally just from top to bottom, take $1 million, light it on fire. End of book. Like, cute, right? But to your point, I mean, we had Chris from Mate on here, right? Like, what, 10 grand a month he said he spent in activations and things like that. So we've gotten comments from both Alicia and Ryan. Thank you both for being with us this morning. Ryan said it's pouring, so he's not golfing, which bummer, my dude. Alicia just said 60% phone, 35% coordinating, 5% projects. Upside down should be reversed. Adam, what is your day-to-day? I mean, you really just said it. Like, it's so funny. If I spent most of my day, or if I spent my day only doing work related to projects I'm partnered on or contracted on and ops work itself, I work 4 to 12 hours a week. It would be a very light lift, right?
Yeah.
If I didn't have to follow up on anything, if I didn't have to do any biz dev, if I wasn't doing any network, like if I cut all that shit away and just did the core work of what I actually do, 4 to 12 hours a week, easily, and it'd be done.
Wow.
I'd be bored, but it'd be done, right? But that's what I mean. Like, the other 40-ish hours a week are follow-ups. They're checking in. They're confirming details, right? They're doing things that sound so fucking pedestrian, but that matter a lot, right?
Yeah. I mean, the devil is in the details at the end of the day. I mean, it's funny. We'll wake up in the morning and I have this whole day planned. It never begins like I think. No. We'll get the email or the text, and little bit. And by the way, thank God this August, Alicia, is it still, is Jupiter still retrograde? So please chime in if you're listening to us. Um, it's been, it was an interesting
Oh,
July for me
funny.
personally and professionally, but it's all good. We got through it. So
Good.
now into August.
Good.
It's amazing. We're heading towards fall. Kids are going back to
Dude,
school.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Literally, when we get done here, I'm loading up the van and I'm gonna go get on the paddleboard, and I don't want that to stop, so we can stop talking about fall.
That's right. Remember in
Hmm.
Minnesota, September, Labor Day, the air conditioner goes on. It's amazing
Hmm.
how
Hmm.
it just, we basically are 30 days
Oh,
from winter here.
yeah.
So,
Yep. 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 Yep.
where are you
Uh,
paddle boarding at?
so the closest like quiet but sizable lake to our house is Silverwood Park
Okay.
over in St. Anthony. So I'll probably go over there just because it's super fucking chill. There's never anybody on it. It's beautiful. There's like a cafe. You get food and coffee and shit. Um, so we'll see. I might go fuck around at like White Bear or one of the bigger lakes, but I'll probably just go to Silverwood.
Do you take your coffee and food on the paddleboard when you're paddling around and eating?
Food. I don't take food out there, but I'll take. Yeah, cooler and a tumbler and your beers or whatever.
You must have incredible, what do you call it, a mid-body strength or whatever to be able to be on a paddle board and do that.
I do okay. Yeah, I do okay. A lot of Bosu ball and core shit at the gym because I have definitely fallen and busted my ass more than once.
That's amazing. All right, well, you know what?
100%.
This has been is I don't know how this is streaming because like on the thing I got 3 errors. So it
Me
definitely went on
too.
Facebook, YouTube, and it's somehow streaming. It did not go on Substack today, and that's fine. What's the outlook look for business the next few months from your estimation?
Um, Man, Outlook is good. Like Ryan and I have got a lot going on. We've got a ton of irons in the fire that we're very excited about. Um, and I think, I've been several people have asked me this, and I don't know if it was your question, but I'll say it anyway. I'm seeing an uptick in tea, matcha tea, boba tea. I'm seeing increased questions from brand owners around those things. I'm seeing increased questions from brand owners in glass again, which shocks the fuck out of me, but here we are. Like people are asking about putting liquids back into glass again. Um, got the first ask in a while the other day for somebody that wanted to go into Tetra Pak, which is not my experience, but I'll talk to them, right? See where I can help. Um, but yeah, man, I think again, like I know we're trying to get Curtis from is it Lemon Perfect or Lemonicious on the phone?
Yeah.
Lemonicious. But I, I, I think the startup world is again, money's always tight. Obviously, there's education to be done, but I think the desire to make new shit is still strong, man. I'm hopeful. Like I think the next, going into the end of the year, I think there's a lot of demand out there and a lot of cool shit being done. You be ready to have a conversation. So, what about you?
We're seeing a lot of tequilas still coming to market.
Okay, yeah,
We're seeing RTDs, everybody, and it seems to be the driver.
yeah.
Starting to see some innovation, which is really interesting. Talk to, so because I'm under NDA with a couple of them, but there's some really cool innovation coming in the RTD land that basically
Yeah.
that I think we'll probably be representing some of that. Sakis seem to be. I see a lot of sake out there innovating with sake and how it comes to market. And NA products, a lot of people are like looking at like an NA offering of their
Mm-hmm.
products. What's really on my mind right now is hemp, and it's probably a whole nother conversation, but it doesn't appear that anybody, I think it was my representative, was it Angie, is it Angie Craig or whatever, she's brought forth a
Mm-hmm.
bill, but I haven't seen anything change that I think, there's a lot of distributors that basically saying, hey, come pick your stuff up.
Mm,
We're going into August and November, sometime mid-November, that stuff is going to go to point four, and the stuff that's sitting in the stores is going to have to be taken out. So I'm not sure if you're hearing anything, if they're going to have an answer for that, but feel for those folks. I mean, the bill on the thing that's being brought forth is they want to treat it like a three-tier, tax it like three-tier, go through the three-tier
yeah,
system. I don't think people
yeah.
can survive that because their cost is going to go up by about 60% overnight.
Yes and no. I mean, don't get me wrong. Math wise, yes, costs are going to go up by about 60% overnight for sure. I think, and I am totally fucking shooting from the hip here. I have no data to back this up. I think when you think about like tobacco or I'm trying to think of what other like highly premium products, I think there still would be even with a 60% price increase, like you would still see a market for it. It would just be a much smaller one. And so, people will still make it, people will still buy it, but it'll become, you know, the for the everyday consumer, it'll be, oh, I get that on my birthday. It's my treat that I go spend $200 on once a year, right? And
Yeah.
then for, the wealthier among us, right, they'll still buy it, but from a production perspective, it'll murder every tiny producer. All the breweries, all the small brands, it'll absolutely fucking gut every one of them. But the products themselves will still exist, at least in the immediate.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to go through the gatekeepers, and I love them all, distributors and customers.
Yeah,
It's very hard to get a brand in distribution right now.
yeah,
Matter of fact, there's distributors like you go distributor, hey, I got Walmart approved. That's great. We can't deliver it. Or I talked to a client goes, they got all the Whole Foods approved, right? And was with a very large distributor. The distributor didn't ship it. Think about
damn,
that. Got Whole Foods, he had the distributor, and distributor didn't ship it.
that's fucking crazy.
So, but that's the devil's in the details. That's why you need people like you, myself,
Mm-hmm.
to work with that distributor. Because what I suspect happened in that particular case, he got the distributor and he disappeared.
Yeah,
He got the distributor and he didn't communicate with that distributor because at the end of the day, distributor has thousands and thousands of brands. If you're not going to call that business manager and have a conversation with him about your brand,
mm-hmm.
hey, I just looked at the depletion report. You guys have sold zero for the month. Oh, we did? Let me go look at that. Can we at least sell a couple cases? Give me some information back. The supplier needs to call the distributor every month, ask for that depletion report, and
Yeah,
ask them where they sold them. More importantly, they need to go in that market at least once a month and work with the distributor and work with the accounts to
yeah.
activate it.
You'll appreciate this story. So, with the last few minutes we have, we can riff a little bit. So, one of the brands I'm working with, husband and wife combo. They live in Connecticut. They're
Yeah.
producing with Niche in Ohio. Shout out to Scotty and Brett, the Niche team. We got to get Scotty on here too. Um, but we're talking about, same conversation we've been having, right? I was like, hey, I'm gonna give you some bare bones details as it relates to sales, but like you really need to have, a sales partner. And so they found somebody that they're working with already, and great, love them. And I get a call a few weeks ago, and they're like, hey, we got asked about Gus's and Rallies in California, right? And those were new names to me. I wasn't familiar, but Gus's and Rallies, large regional players or much size, right? And so I'm like, okay, that's great. How are you going to support that? And they go, what do you mean? I'm like, we've talked about this. If you're going to have product in market, you need a person in market. So that needs to either be you or someone you trust very directly to represent your brand. And so I'm on the phone with the brand owner, I don't know, like a week ago. And again, husband and wife, they've got two kids, right? She goes, I think we're going to send my husband out there for like 6 weeks, right when it starts, just to stay there for a month and a half. And I was like, really? And she goes, yeah. I'm like, look, if you can make it work, God bless, because you absolutely need to put somebody there until you figure out paying somebody to be there. But that's the type of stuff. that we talk about, right? Like you can't just ship product across the country, do nothing with it, and expect it to go well, right?
Yeah, I mean, so many brands, I mean, they're chasing distribution either in a distributor, then they're chasing it within a customer, and they think,
Yeah.
well, once they got it in, the work is done, and that's where the investment actually starts. The biggest part of your money and your investment is in the selling part of your brand. It is
The
your P&L. If
the
you got to invest there,
mhm.
and it's painful
we
by the time you arrive with us because you're like, look, I got $6 in this already. I only have $1 to spend with you.
I've started calling it the field of dreams fallacy, right?
Build
Because
it, they build it, come. Yeah.
every brand owner I talk to is every new brand owner, right? The ones who haven't done this before, which again, it's not a knock. It's not something you would know if you've never done this. So I'm not saying that they're foolish or unintelligent. It's a lack of insight and expectation because they haven't done it. But every brand owner I talk to will talk about costs operationally, and then they'll say, well, but once I get it made, then, then kind of the bleed stops financially, right? Like then I have product. I'm like, no, then the bleed starts, right? And they're like, what do you mean? And I said, it's the field of dreams fallacy. Everybody thinks if you make it, it'll sell. Nothing could be further from the fucking truth, right? So whatever you spend to get it made, you should spend 2 to 3 times that much or have it available to go sell it, right?
It's
And you watch
foundation
people
building. What's the most expensive part of the house?
foundation. Yeah.
The foundation.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't build the
It is.
foundation correctly, what happens to the house?
Totally. Oh, shit. Yeah.
The house falls down, right?
Yeah.
If you don't put that rebar, that gravel, you make sure that concrete mix is like right, is everything's level and ready to go. Foundation building is the hardest, but they all want to go from foundation to scale, and it doesn't work that way. You got to go to foundation. Then what you have to build foundation? You build it, right? You build on top of the foundation. After you build it, you grow it. Then maybe you want to go ahead and do
Yeah.
some we want to add a pool. Now you're starting to scale, right? Once you get that pool in, you build the mother-in-law, suite a little bit. Now you're sustaining your life.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
everything in
No,
life ties together, man. I think about these weird shit. Maybe I need to go drink another cannabis drink and take a little gummy and. But,
No, dude, it's funny, right? Like she would never do it. She'd be embarrassed, embarrassed as shit. But we should get Brie on here sometime because the amount of times, and I'm sure you do this with your wife too, but like the amount of times that Brie will tell me about her day and I'll tell her about my day,
yeah.
and we'll look at each other and realize we had the same fucking day. She's a therapist. I'm a beverage ops guy, right?
Yeah.
But we had very similar days in terms of the way we spoke to people, the general perspective we took on the conversation. And so you're right, like whether it's, and I do the same thing with friends that work in software or that work in real estate or that work in construction or that work in like there's an underlying current of just the way shit works when it's done right that translates from industry to industry. And it's fascinating once you see it because then you start to see it everywhere and you can't shut the fuck up about it, which is also a problem. But
Yeah.
it exists nonetheless.
Yeah. No, I love it. Well,
Oh,
to
shit.
wrap up,
All right. Well, parting thoughts.
the Beverage Broker Network one more time.
Yep.
If you're looking to connect with really good folks out there, service providers, distributors, accounts, operators, sales folks, anybody in the industry, give the Beverage Broker Network a shout out or join us in the community because it definitely can definitely be game changing for you. Adam, thank you so much for writing this test today. I guess we figured out how to stream LinkedIn. We fell out of three other areas, but we'll figure it out. I think you do have to stream it either from you or me, by the way. I think that's the other thing. We'll have to test that out next time. We can stream it
Okay.
from podcast.com. I'm not sure we can or not. So
Okay.
we'll figure that out. Any closing thoughts, Adam?
Oh shit. If the weather's good where you are, go get outside and enjoy summer. Uh, Even if you don't work with them directly, go find somebody, a consultant, advisor, go pick their brain on shit you don't know. And I think that's it. I think that's all I got for today.
I'll plug the Beverage Broker Network one more time in my closing thoughts. So we really want to
Perfect.
build this for the community. It's free. FREE. It's free. Join us on this ride. It helps everybody. And please look up Alias Advising as well, and check out Adam. He does an incredible job and a great partner of ours. With that, thanks for riding this wave with us on this Saturday. We started a minute early. I guess we'll end a minute early as well. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good weekend.